Good afternoon or good evening, instructors. Tonight, I don't have a scheduled Zoom. Again, I wanted to give instructors an opportunity to work on their courses independently, maybe going through my Canvas shell, going through week 1, going through week 2, and week 3, and identifying ways in which developing a more robust and qualitative class might happen in terms of setup in Canvas. But what I do want to talk briefly about, and if you get an opportunity as a replacement to our meeting tonight, I'm going to post this video. I wanted to talk just a little bit about creating buttons within your course. I know a lot of instructors have developed content that are not necessarily using buttons as, I might call it an audio, not even audio, like a visual engagement tool, right? Like reading a sentence, a student, for example, that says, click on this link, or the link provided below. Anytime there's a link discussion, buttons can be used to eliminate the discussion. Again, there's ways in which students, as I mentioned, it could be a visual connector that allows for students to get around in the course more fluidly. As I do this, I realize that this is a concept that I talked a little bit about the very first week, and then I left it. But as I envision this third week, and I'll be grading, or should I say evaluating your courses tonight during the 6 to 7:30 time frame on my own. You might find an announcement or two may come up in your class if necessary, during that time if I'm evaluating your course in particular. Again, there is no requirement this evening to watch me or to engage in a Zoom. You are going to be working on your own. So as I go back into this process for developing buttons, as I mentioned, I'll give you a visual here real quick. Now, you probably won't use buttons if you don't use pages, but I would say that it's a strong possibility that you could use buttons even if you don't develop pages. As I develop my buttons, though, for this screencast today, is I am going to use pages because in my mind, again, a page is like a notepad. It gives you, or should I say, it would give the instructor the ability to annotate, information that is related to the course. Where are my buttons? So I was looking in my econ course, and let's just go ahead and develop a button or two on this page. Okay, so you'll notice in this first situation here that this is my home page, and it talks a little bit about, that gives a pictorial of my book, and it gives some information, but it also talks about log into these various websites. Oh yeah, okay, I know where I'm going now, right? And so, as I mentioned earlier, this is a link here, Canvas registration required. This is a link here, my econ lab. This is a link here, Pearson.com. Okay, so to streamline that process, one of the things that I could do is, first of all, it's important that when you're doing your buttons that you are using the Chrome browser, because you're going to need to go into a program called the Button Factory. And then there's also a program that I use called Cool Text. And it's another graphic generator, as it were, that allows for you to develop different styles, maybe that can also work as a button. And I'll show you both of those inherently today. So the Button Factory, again, it's a free site. Again, I do suggest that you use Chrome. If you use Chrome, you'll be able to do some seamless drag and drop type of a functionality in your Canvas course. If you're using other browsers, then the instructions or the things that you'll watch here tonight may not be as usable, because you have to download the button onto your computer. Then you have to upload it in a different way. Okay. So I guess I'm limited to the space that I have. So that's going to be one of the things that are the limitations that you might have if you don't use the Chrome web browser. Okay, so when you go to the Button Factory, again, it's a free service. You'll see this this type of background will come up. And if I go back, I do remember that there was a course syllabus that I want my students to be able to link to. And this, again, could work. As I mentioned, some of those of you out there that aren't using Pages, you could put this on your home page, or moreover, you could probably even create a button in a discussion board that would take students to a particular area or to a particular document. Okay. So in this case, I'm just going to go course syllabus. And then when I do that, I just click into the middle, and you'll see it says course syllabus. Now, I probably should put a name there for the class. So I'm going to go economics. And that is actually micro. Okay. So now that I have the button the way I want it to look, again, you have various things that you can do with this. You can change the font style. Okay. That looks pretty cool. You could also change the shadowing. I usually don't mess with that too much. That's kind of neat, right? You kind of have a shadow behind it. You can change the size, making it larger or smaller. You can also change the style of the button, fully curved or rectangular. And then you can change the color. I am a fan of Prince, rest in peace, the artist, the musician. So I'm going to use purple in this case. And then I haven't done much with the bordering component, but you can actually put a border around it, I guess, and identify the size of the border. And actually, I'm going to go back over here. I don't like this shadowing thing too much. That kind of distorts the view a little bit. Okay. So then this is a course syllabus for microeconomics, right? I have it the way I want it to look. So then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to download the button. Now it's going to place the button in a particular area. I know some of the things that we were talking about last time, we were discussing the test banks. And so I'm just going to use that file. And I'm going to put the buttons in my test bank file. And I'm going to actually create a new file for that and just call them buttons. Now, when I go back to get these, I'll probably forget where they were. So my mind, right? Okay. So then I'm going to save that. Now, the only reason you're saving it is because when you save it, it's going to put it into a file, but more importantly, it's going to bring it down to the bottom of your screen here on the left. Okay, and again, this is the reason for us using the fact that we're using a Chrome. Okay. So now I'm going to go back into my Canvas shell. And in this case, I'm going to edit this home page. Now, let's just say you want 3 buttons, and I think I've shown you how I did this before, but I'm going to go ahead and create this again. Let's just say I want to put the buttons on this particular area, and I want to place the buttons in 3 different boxes, right? Because I'm going to do 3 buttons. So you can click the table here and go 3. I mean, you wouldn't go 3, but you would highlight 3, right? And so then that'll give you kind of a bounded table. And then ultimately you can place the buttons in each of these tables as you see fit. So in this case, it looks like I had course registration required, my econ lab, and the Pearson my econ lab. So I guess this is appropriate because now I'm going to go ahead and put in my course syllabus. So by doing that, the first thing I want to do here is now put my cursor in the middle of the box. You'll see that it's blinking. And I'm going to go over here to images on the right. And so right now this box is, I guess you would call it, it's the active box. And I've gone to images. Now I'm going to hit upload new image. And you'll notice I already have some banners or boxes or buttons in there previously that I constructed or created using the button factory, right? So now the cool part about this is if you go down to the bottom of your screen and you left click and hold that file that would drop down into the bottom of your screen, then you just drop it right over the top where it says choose file. You'll notice here now that button economics is right there. So again, this is it can be somewhat temperamental, right? So you're going to go to the bottom of the page. You'll see down here that your file is at the bottom. You're going to left click your mouse and you're going to drag this item all the way over and place it right on top of choose file. And when you place it directly on top of it, if it catches it, if it holds it, then you'll see this extension right next to it. I think I was going through this with Nancy the other night, or one of the other meetings that I had, and it wouldn't hold for some reason. Like I would bring in the file and I drop it down and it didn't show up. Frustrating because I know that it works for me now, but it didn't work then. And so you might find that, so be patient with it. And then the other thing is you want to create what they call an alternative text for this item. It's really just a description of what's there. And you'll notice I'm just going to go ahead and just hit syllabus because that's something that I know I've used before, right? Then after you do that, you just hit upload. And it puts the button right in the box there. Now, I think Nancy might have asked a question about this also, and she said, well, Henry, how do we change the size of the button? I was not aware of how to change the size once we've created it using the button factory. I'm not sure now, and we're going to create another button, and I'll look at the size parameter. So that's something that maybe I can note specifically. Okay. Wow. All right. Hopefully there aren't any questions. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link this button, since I'm already here, to some file that's in my class. So now that I have this purple button in here, I'm going to just left click it and you'll see that it'll highlight. And then I'm going to go into files. This is what I want to link, right? You could also go to links and you could link it to your pages, your assignments, your quizzes, your announcements, your discussions, your modules, your course navigation. I mean, these are just links obviously within the class. And I haven't played much with that, but that's actually, that gives me, again, as I explore and expand on my teaching and learning and use of Canvas, I may explore that a little bit to see if I want to create a button that will take my students directly to a quiz, maybe within my modules. Once again, this is just totally up to you as an instructor how you use this, right? So now I'm going to go into File, and I'm going to choose the file that I want this button to link to. And of course, in this case, I'm going to link it to my syllabus for the summer. And all I did there was just click the file, and then you'll see that the color changes slightly. And then I'm going to save that. Now you can tell that the button is active if you hover over it and you see this little finger that's pointing. It'll also give you the document that it's going to open up. Now the issue here with this, as you look at this, this is not a PDF, right? As I mentioned, that we want to, in most cases, verify that we are using PDFs in our class. But Word documents work. Again, they just take a little bit more time for the students to maybe download and then ultimately open up. But I know most cell phones now, as I mentioned with the fact that we have Microsoft Office 365, students should have the opportunity or the ability to look at their Word files on their phone. Okay, so now that we have that button, let's see, I'm going to go and look at this page and say, is there anything else I want to create a button to, right? Let me maybe go back over. I have my syllabus. You look at my modules. Now, as I did this, you can see where I also created a page. And as I mentioned, when I developed my page for my course resources, that's actually where I show my buttons again. They weren't as psychedelic, and as I mentioned to the visual engagement, that purple says click on me maybe more vehemently or quicker, or shall I say it invites more inviting than the standard blue. Right? But this is the same thing that I've done. So I've redundantly now captured using a button. As I mentioned, the premise of this was to say, in what case do I want to engage my students to be able to engage with curriculum related items, i.e. maybe PowerPoints, i.e. lecture notes, course syllabus, reading list, maybe even discussion board, an announcement, to say the least. What areas might I use buttons? And I realize that it has some labor intensity to it to actually go to the button factory and create it and then bring it in, in some way. So this is just another visual of how I actually have created buttons, and you'll see that that link is hot. That link takes my students to their website, for the publisher's website. And then this course syllabus button is also hot, but it's the wrong syllabi. Aha. Iterative, iterative, iterative. So now what I want to do real quickly is I want to change this syllabus, because truly this is summer. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to edit this. I'm going to highlight this button. I'm going to go over to Files. And then I'm going to go down to the syllabus. Okay. And I'm going to highlight that. Boom. Now, the good part about this whole process, for me anyway, one of the advantages of maybe being redundant in your class, is the fact that my course syllabus actually was 2019 summer, right? Originally, you know, but my students were still able to view the syllabus in the syllabus area. So those of you that say to me, well, hey, I don't want to use the syllabus area per se, or maybe you may not say that. Let's just stay on track. This is another area that you want to deploy your syllabus in two ways, right? So you'll notice the one thing that I don't have, and this is the type of review as you see here, like this is a class that I'm actively teaching. And these things that I've discussed with you about mandatory items like PDFs, making sure that the correct files are uploaded. I, as the trainer, have found 2 errors. And I've taught this class probably 5 times. So that's really what I mean when I talk about the fact that this is an ongoing endeavor. And when you change things, and changes are required, you might change it to this class, but you may forget to change it to another class. And then we talked a little bit about the importing and exporting of things. So hey, I'm just saying, do as I say, maybe not necessarily as I do in every case, but the hope is that you're getting something from me as your trainer, a professor here at Victor Valley, moreover a quasi Canvas, not expert, but functionary. I can use Canvas. So my point is that the fact that my syllabus, that the link was bad on the previous page, you can see the syllabus located here. And so I have to tell myself, right away, Henry, you need to add the syllabus PDF on this page. But I don't know if I were to do that right now, if I have my syllabus saved as a PDF. So I'll go back and take a look at that. I don't want to digress too much, and this video is probably going to end here at 30 minutes. Okay? So let's go back to the first page, the home page. Okay? Let's go ahead and add in another button. But in this case, I'm going to use that cool text item that I mentioned to you. Okay, so I'm going to go cool text. And here you have some options, right, of different ways your text can look when you create something. So I'm not going to log in. You don't have to hit, you'll notice here, you'll see with cool text, it says log in. You don't have to log in. All you have to do is hit one of these styles that you want. I'm going to maybe go lava. And it'll pop up like this. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to go term project. Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool, right? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the logo. And then I'm going to download it. Now, again, if you're using Chrome, when you download it, it's going to put it at the bottom of the page, as it did with the other document or the other PNG file. Okay. So then I'm going to go back to my class. I'm going to go into the box here. Oops, I need to make sure I edit first. And then I'm going to go into the box. And I'm going to go over to images on the right. I'm going to upload an image. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom and I'm going to drag this cool text and drop it over the top. And then I'm going to call this course syllabus. I'm going to call this term project document or term project. Somewhat redundant. I'm going to upload it. Bam. Nice, correct? That's cool. All right. Now, once again, I get, you say, well, Henry, this is a lot of work for something like this. But teenagers, I would say this in our world today, love a picture. Now, the other thing that I want to do potentially here, I want to link this project to my paper, right? So I'm going to go back in, I'm going to edit. I'm going to hover over it, and I'm going to go to the term project, files. I'm going to find my term project. And it's all the way down here. Let's make sure we pick the correct one, Henry. It's term project 2020 for the summer. I don't know why I made that a .rtf. Then I'm going to go save. Okay. Now the last thing that I used to remember how to do, but I'm not sure, so I'm hoping I'm not inserting my, let me go here, I'm going to highlight, let's see, I want to table properties, border. Yeah, I want to get rid of my border. So what I did there was I just went back in, clicked on the column on the table, and then I went into table properties. And normally you'll have a border number here. And I just deleted that number. You also can see here that you can change the width and the height pixeling of your image. So let's play around with that and just go 51. And then let's make this an even 90. I'm gonna see. Oh no, I ain't gonna mess with that because I don't know what that does. Okay, and then I'm gonna hit OK. Yeah, it didn't really change it too much. But the key part about that is that now on the page I have these two audio, or should I say visual related. It's not audio. There's nothing, there's no sound behind it. I do apologize. These visual pieces that might say to the students, hey, there's a little bit more behind this. Let's give you another engagement piece, some other way to connect with things in your class. Okay, or should I say with items in this course that you're learning in. All right. Okay, so that's all I have for this evening. I just want to talk a little bit about the button factory and the cool text generator. I do believe that if you watch this video, you're doing this in replacement of our Zoom meeting that we would normally have. As I mentioned, I will be on the computer, on my independent computer, checking courses tonight. I do not have a Zoom scheduled, so you are free to do what you do. And then I will email everyone the Zoom link for next week, where we'll be talking about rubrics in more in depth and also student learning outcomes. And then I have a few questions that I'm going to answer for a couple of instructors had some questions about some things. So, all right. If you have any questions, by all means, you can email me. If not, have a great evening. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.